What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Emilio in Tennessee here to talk some Packers this evening on this glorious Thursday evening as the Broncos and the Saints are about to get kicked off here. Looks like the Denver Broncos are actually 2.5-point favorites. That's really interesting. So we'll kind of keep you guys up to date on the score there as we go through the show. But first things first. We're going to continue to kick shows off this way, guys. Anything on the forefront of your mind? We got a bunch of stuff to jump into. I'm excited, man. A lot of cool stats, a lot of cool, just kind of nuggets across the Green Bay Packers, as well as we're also going to show a little bit of tape too. We got a couple of clips I put together just watching some film earlier today. But let's go around the horn once. Tim, anything on your mind this evening, bud?
It's definitely not the kicker. I'll tell you that. Good feeling. Thinking a lot about Karl Brooks, man. Karl Brooks on the rise. I hope he continues to play well and fill in that void on that D line. As we see today, I believe we'll go over the injury report at some point. I'm sure. Yeah. Seeing the limiteds and did not participate, but I was doing a little stat diving and. The numbers are starting to come up there for Mr. Karl Brooks, and we're seeing it out on the field. So been thinking a lot about him lately and the boys up front because we are going to have our hands full on Sunday at Lambeau against the Texans. So shout out to Karl Brooks, man. Keep up the good work. We need you right now, brother, for real.
That's a fact. Yo, what you got, bro? Anything?
No, I think that's a great point. Hafley was talking about how they use that first 2 minutes of individual every practice to work on their punch. He said it doesn't matter where it comes from. Evan, at safety, Karl Brooks at D-line, but everybody's working on it. And, it's something that you got to practice. And, you saw it right there. I love Tim's point there. Then, it was just the show with the show with Josh Myers in it, that 20-minute segment that Matt LaFleur sat down and stuff, watched a little bit of that, just happy. Matt's happy how fast the team came out, get off to a jump with the offense. But that was because the defense had 3 and outs, stopped the Cardinals from getting that first score and everything like that. So just real complimentary. And, it's all surrounded around the football.
Got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And again, LaFleur preached it all year last year. When they would have a complimentary game, he would mention it. And then when they lose, hey, we got to play complimentary football. Everyone rolled their eyes like it was I think most people don't even really understand what that means. But you're seeing it. If you didn't know what it meant before, now. This is exactly what it looks like, man. When you get all 3 facets of the game kind of working together, picking each other up, and maximizing opportunities when one does cause a huge opportunity for the Packers, like the defense turning the ball over, converting those to points, or when the offense stutters or gives the ball away, the defense going and getting the ball right back, all those things, right? So, and hopefully with the addition of McManus, we'll capitalize on some more points here as well, because I believe at one point Green Bay was leading the league in field goal attempts. I don't know if they still are, but it's obvious that LaFleur was really trying to lean on that, and I'm a big field goal fan. You know what I mean? I'm not one of these guys that's go for it on 4th down. If you can take the 3, you take the 3. That's the way I've always looked at it. I know it's a boring way to fan, but that's definitely how I felt. That's why it should be shocking when people heard me say with the kicker situation, I think we should probably start going for it. It's because it takes a lot going wrong for a boring fan like me to feel that way.
You really know you're in bad shape when you're thinking about going for 2 after touchdowns, because your kicker can't even hit extra points. I mean, we've been there. So we're on the upswing now with the kicking game. So hopefully the veteran kicker edition will help us and we can get past this.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully the connection's okay, guys. I'm getting a message here from StreamYard that says connection is unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging into your router. Well, we're plugged directly into the router. So I love how it's always, hey, you guys are doing something wrong there. No, sir, we're not. I'm paying plenty of money that I know the internet's just fine. There you go. That's the look. That's the look you got to give. All right. So we had a question from a listener, Jason Tebow, a member of the Patreon group, asked this in the Chalk Talk questions segment or section. And he said, I was watching the last Chalk Talk and was wondering how which tight end is the Y and the U in 12 personnel sets. If you explained it, I missed it. It's very, very, very foggy, Javen. I'm sorry. I always say Jason. Javen, I think is how you say his name. That's a very, very foggy question. And the reason I say that's because, either could be or. I've always looked at it like the traditional tight end, the one that's attached, is the Y unless he flexes. Okay. You never consider the U flexed out, is the way it's always been explained to me. And what I mean by that is, let's say you got two tight ends. What I mean by traditional Y, the tight end that's on the line of scrimmage would be the Y. The one playing off would be the U. Now, if a tight end flexes out wide, traditionally that's the Y. The U never really flexes. If that makes sense. Now, other offenses look at it differently, right? And Matt LaFleur may look at it differently. This is just the way that I break down plays, and it's the way that I know when I say U, or I look at my notes and say U, I know that's the tight end off the line of scrimmage, unless the other guy's flexed, right? That's how I always look at it. Now, when Bill O'Brien was in Houston, he called his tight ends the F and the U, and there was a lot of giggling about that because he did it on purpose to say, F you, just to, haha, that's funny, right? Little potty humor there. But here's the guy. Exactly. That's the first time I'd ever heard a tight end referred to as F. And then people heard Matt LaFleur refer to the F in his offense, and they immediately thought, well, that means the tight end that's flexing out. That's not the case. The F in Matt LaFleur's offense, according to the stuff that I've read and studied, that's the flyer position in his offense, was predominantly the motion guy at wide receiver. So that's why I revert back to Y and U as the tight ends. All right. So again, Y, your traditional tight end. So let's put it this way. If there's only one tight end on the field, it's always the Y. I don't care where he lines up. Unless he's in the backfield, we will always refer to him as the H-back. Okay. But if there's one tight end, we say Y. If there's two tight ends, now you need to now you try to determine which tight end's on the line of scrimmage or flexed out. That becomes the Y. The other guy that's playing off the line of scrimmage, kind of that wing set, that's the U. So hopefully that makes sense. Did that make sense, Emilio? Is that kind of how you see that as well? Or am I wrong there?
Yeah, no, I think that was spot on. U's kind of more backfield, and Y is, anywhere on the line, either, kissing the tight end or flexed out. I think that's kind of the easiest way to go about it, unless Matt just sits down and tells us his game plan, which he mentions in his interview almost every time he's not going to do. I appreciate that, but I would go with that.
Yeah, and he's not going to give all the details out of his offense. Matt isn't, right? Like, he's not going to go up and go, yeah, this is what you want to look for. Here's our F. Here's what we like to do with that. Like, they are so keeping everything close to the vest that they're never going to come out and actually explain exactly how everything operates. And here's the deal. When that was explained to me, that was 2 years ago with him having the F, he may refer to it as something else now, right? That's the reality of it. But everything that I do on Chalk Talk is geared around, this is the way, long before Matt LaFleur, right? Long before Matt LaFleur got into Green Bay, this is the way I broke down tape. This is my lingo I use. Every offense uses different terminology and everything. So it's just a way for us to quickly connect. All right, that's what Clayton means when he says that. So hopefully that answered your question there, Dave. Appreciate you asking that, man. Coach Lynn in the chat says, we call ours the Y and B in Bama, which is 12 personnel for us. There you go, bing. And that is the first time I've ever heard of anyone referring to a tight end as a B. So it's just another example of how coaches use different terminology. Thank you so much for that, Coach Lynn. It's because you find yourself getting tunnel vision sometimes, and it's like, am I looking at this wrong? Nothing is set in stone, right? So
Y could be H, Y and H, anything like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's a great question. I'm glad he asked it. AFM in the chat said, I don't like to comment on how the players look in the locker room, but if what I saw is Ben Sims next to LaFleur, that guy looked like 6 foot, looked like 6'6" and super lengthy. Let him play over Musgrave. Free Ben Sims. We're going to talk about Ben Sims is he's a dog. He's actually 6'5". Some people refer to him as 6'6". I've seen it on some cards, but I'm pretty sure he's officially 6'5". And he's the fastest tight end on the team, which is absolutely wild to think about because Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave had RASs through the roof. So, I'm with you on that, AFM. Ben Sims has really just played solid, man, not tried to do too much. Greg Rice says Musgrave has not looked good this year or not looked great this year. Sims should definitely be getting more snaps. I completely agree with that, Greg. but with the build that Musgrave has and what he showed in college and everything before he got hurt, I think it was his senior year. At any moment it could click, and I'm on the other side of the fence. But right now, I'm with you. Ben Sims is that dude in my opinion. So I like him as the U, no doubt. And you'll see he predominantly plays the U. Last week we seen Tucker Kraft flex out wide, and Musgrave Ben Sims stayed in his spot. That's one example. But also when you see him on the line of scrimmage, it doesn't mean it's always like that. But sometimes you'll see Ben Sims on the line of scrimmage and Tucker playing off. And I'm thinking, okay, when I'm doing chalk talk, all right, Ben Sims is the Y. I'm going to refer to Tucker as the U. But then Tucker flexes out wide. You never want to say U flex. You want to say Y flex. So that makes sense. But
Ben Sims, 8.4 RAS.
8.4. But his 40 time is what? 4? It's something crazy, right?
Let's see. 40 yard, 4.5.
Yeah. There it is. That's crazy, man. Absolutely wild. Okay, so since it's spooky season here, I'm going to show this every October, fellas. This has got to be the greatest Halloween costume in history.
Nice.
For those of you on the pod, this is a picture of Vince Lombardi being carried off the field by Jerry Kramer. And there was some awesome dad, should be in a runner for dad of the year, actually dressed his son in a suit and tie with the glasses, looks just like Vince Lombardi. And he's holding him up, and he's dressed like Jerry Kramer. I absolutely love it, man. Every October that hits, man, it fires me up. Love our fans.
Classic.
All right, so let's shift gears into injuries. Obviously, that's going to play a huge role in this game against the Texans on Sunday afternoon. Paul Brettel tweeted out 52 of the Packers' 53 going through warm-ups today. Wyatt was the only one out. Jenkins and Wooden are back. So it sounds like Devontae Wyatt. I would be very surprised if he plays this Sunday. How are you guys feeling about that? Am I reading too much into it? Because when you've been out that long, you got to knock the rust off, right?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I'm going to go as far to say I think he's going to play, because I'm just not sure, but I would like him to, right? I mean, in this situation, not going to IR, you think you'd get him back sooner than later. I don't know. What do you think, Emilio?
Yeah, I mean, if they bump up to a wall as it comes up to game time, I'd rather just play it safe, even if he doesn't play. But you're right. I mean, he's going to have rust. He's going to need to get back into the grooves of things, and we got other guys stepping up. I think with Wooden back helps, a lot, being able to, take that spot and give him a breather. I mean, I don't want to force him out there, but I like the idea of him being out there if possible.
Yeah, like Greg Rice in the chat says, is that Jacob holding up Emilio in that picture? I love it. The beard. All right, this was cool. Came across the wire. NFL Talk tweeted out top 5 NFL quarterbacks in passing touchdowns heading into Week 7. Number 1, Tampa Bay Buccaneers Baker Mayfield with 15. Number 2, Jordan Love from the Green Bay Packers with 12. Guys, he missed 2 games. 2 of the 6 games he missed, and he's second in the league in touchdown passes. Let that sink in for a second.
Here's a guy.
Exactly. Hey, listen, he's not playing his best ball. Last week, really, I think I seen Andy Herman had him graded out excellent. Obviously, the interception wasn't really on him or that grade, but it'd been even higher, I would imagine. But, man, you cannot deny this dude knows how to put points up. And Emilio, he gets in the red zone, man. He's saying to hell with the run. Let's see if we can throw this thing into the back pylon there.
Yeah, and working on that efficiency, we were struggling with that early. I know it was more of an issue when Malik was in there, but been saying it for a while. Before that Rams game, the lowest and still the lowest that the offense has put up is 29, and even in that Rams game, they put up 24. So this offense is scoring points. When Jordan Love's on the field, doesn't matter who our playmakers are. We've had a rotation. Everybody gets a good game, and he's just cooking back there. If he had one more game, he'd be leading the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that Baker's got Love on his tail for sure right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you this too. D'Amico Ryans, the head coach for the Houston Texans, actually said earlier this week that this will be the best quarterback they faced all year, and it's caused an uproar because they've already faced Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills. And, many people look at Josh Allen as a top 3 quarterback in the league, definitely top 5. And most people look at Love as kind of top 10, kind of the lower side of top 10 until he proves otherwise. You look here on this list, though, again, Josh Allen hasn't missed a single game. He's only got 10 touchdown passes. Jordan's got 12.
That's why they had to get Cooper, right? And need all help they can get down there.
Yeah.
And like you said, most people say, right? Well, DeMeco Ryans isn't most people. I mean, that guy, if anybody understands who a deadly quarterback is, it's DeMeco Ryans, a premier defensive player, kind of a legend in his own right. And so I take his word over a lot of these so-called analysts out there for sure. And like you said, Clayton, the numbers don't lie, right? Look at the numbers.
Right. Yeah. Now, and again, he's got a lot of stuff he needs to clean up. Obviously, the accuracy and everything, and protecting the football, of course, first and foremost. But that blew me away when I seen that. I was just like, as soon as I seen the number, I went, "Oh, that's awesome. He's second." And I went, "Hold on, man. He missed 2 games."
Yeah.
Well, how many would he have if he hadn't missed those 2 games? I mean, I feel real comfortable saying he'd probably have at least 15, 16.
I was going to say he'd probably be tied with Baker at least right now.
Yeah.
I would almost say 3 apiece. I'd say he'd be around 18.
And look at the money.
Oh, I love it. J Money. I love it.
And look at the money they've spent on those receivers in Tampa Bay. I mean, you've got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, both of which have got huge contracts.
Same with the Bengals.
Yeah, exactly. With Joe Burrow with the Bengals and Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson just got the bag. That's arguably the best wide receiver in the league, right? So I think it's safe to say Jordan's doing the most with the least, although I think everybody on this podcast would agree. We think our wide receiver core is just as good as anyone's in the league. It's just when you comparatively speak about it as far as salary cap implications, that would not suggest that you look at the salary cap that the Packers got and you think they should have a bottom 5 wide receiver core. That's just not the case. Goody is in his bag with those wide receivers right now. Now I'm going to say this too. I haven't heard any rumors. I'm not saying I want this to happen, but I kind of had an epiphany today. Epiphany. How do you say that, Tim? Help me out there.
Epiphany.
There it is. Epiphany.
Heard it from a fan right here.
I think I screwed it up again. Matter of fact. I was sitting there thinking earlier, and I'm like, if there was something going on behind the scenes with Romeo, and he isn't happy, if an inkling of that is true with the way our wide receiver core sits, I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Romeo. I wouldn't. I hope it doesn't happen. But as we're kind of the trade talks are kind of amping up, and some people are like, what could the Packers potentially do to put this team over the hump? You talk about a lot of different teams. Let's put it this way. Let me just throw one hypothetical. And I haven't heard anything on this. We're just kind of spitballing here. The Raiders, right? Some people think that Max Crosby might be available. Now, he has said otherwise, and I personally don't think that. But let's say Max Crosby is available. Well, they just traded away Devontae Adams, right? What if they're high on someone like Romeo Doubs, and you send Romeo Doubs to the Raiders, and let's say even a second-round pick, and you grab Max Crosby from them? They now get potentially a number 1 receiver. Obviously, he's nowhere near Devontae Adams, but that would kind of fill that void a touch for them. And then they also pick up draft capital, because the reality is they need a franchise quarterback. So they're going to be looking for all the draft capital they can find. I could see something like that shaping up. If you're asking me, would you pull that trade? I probably would, to be honest with you. I just don't know if the Raiders are willing to give up on a top-tier edge defender, right? So, and again, I haven't heard anything there. I'm not trying to create a rumor. It's just as I was out and about today, I'm thinking about that. Like, what are the chances that Romeo would get moved? I definitely don't think it's 0. So,
right.
I don't know if you guys got anything to add to that or not, but that just kind of
feel the same way about Max Crosby. I think the sentiment out of Vegas right now is that they're not interested in moving him, which is exactly what you want to tell people in order to see how much they're willing to offer. So I don't think there's a high chance that they move him. Obviously, one of the best players at his position in the NFL, period, let alone best on that team. So it's going to take a lot. I think you're right. At least a top tier receiver and, a second and, possibly more picks, maybe even more than 1 pick. Who knows? But, there might be other teams that might be more aggressive than the Packers too in that situation. If in fact Crosby was on the market, I think about Detroit trying to come up with a solution for, losing Aiden Hutchinson, and then you and I talked about this offline a couple of days ago, Clayton, and then the thought that maybe Hutchinson comes back in, 16 to 18 months or something. And now you got 2 premier pass rushers over there. So scary news for the NFC North if it was to go out, that way. But as of right now, it looks like they're not, at least publicly, they're not interested in moving Crosby. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. And when you talk about the
Yeah.
NFC North, look at this, boys. Emilio, check this out. PFF, the NFC North defenses, and they got the lock emoji here. Most team takeaways before Week 7 hit. All right, Xavier McKinney and the Green Bay Packers have 17 takeaways. Jalen Johnson and the Chicago Bears have 13. Minnesota Vikings, and I'm trying to think of that linebacker's name. I should remember it because he's a terror. Who is that right there? 43. He can blitz and drop back. Van Ginkel, there you go. So the Minnesota Vikings have 13. Obviously, they got Harrison Smith back there patrolling around as well. It's pretty wild, man. These are the leaders, right, in the entire National Football League, and all three teams, Emilio, are in the NFC North in takeaways, man.
That's why all four teams in the NFC North have more than 4 wins.
Yep.
I mean, you got to give yourself opportunities. 13, 17 turnovers. That's big. That's 17 more possessions. That's, whatever you do with those possessions is up to your offense, but you have to at least be able to do what you can on defense to give them that option. And I think it's, listening to Hafley's presser, I think that is something that's going to keep happening. It might not be 3-4 a game, but they practice it so much that it's repetitive. It's in their nature. That's the first thing they do in individual drills. Go punch that ball, practice for 5 minutes, and then we're out of there. But that's going to stick with you. You do that every day. Even when they're not, he said, even when they're not fully padded and they're just, thuds or uppers or whatever, you're still punching at that ball even when you go to make that tackle. So It's just repetition, practice, and it's been showing up in the games.
Yeah, it's what Coach Haff said. You get what you emphasize, right? You've also heard the old saying, you're either coaching it, you're either teaching it, or you're allowing it, right? Yeah. And it's huge, man. The first thing I thought of when they were talking about how much time they're spending on punching the ball out and taking the ball away was the emphasis that Coach K put on Duke basketball's team to play defense. And I don't know if many people may not know this, but it was explained to us when we had dinner with Coach K that the last room that the team walks through before they go on the court to play is what they call the defensive room. And it's just kind of this reminder of, hey, first and foremost, we're playing hard defense, right? We're not a flashy team. We're going to play scrappy. We're going to play hard defense. And if I understood correctly, the coaches are not allowed in that room. The players go into that room together, and then they meet with the coach out on the court, and they come out of the tunnel and all that. So, again, you get what you emphasize. It's huge. So since we were talking about the takeaways here, let's see. Xavier McKinney was actually in the locker room earlier today, and I think it was John. Who was it that tweeted this out? John Miller from NBC 26 actually tweeted out this video from the locker room. Xavier McKinney on the Packers' defensive vibes heading into Sunday's game against the Texans. Let's see what Xavier McKinney had to say.
Man, it's a big vibe. It's fun, man. We enjoy each other, and you can see that with how we play. You can see that with how we communicate with each other, and it's just been fun, like being here. Like every day, I'm happy, about where I'm at, and the guys in this locker room and coaching staff. So it's been a hell of a ride already, and I know it's just gonna get even better for us. So yeah, man.
I love it. You think he misses the Giants, fellas?
Hell no.
Right.
I think I'll tell you something else. I think, Clayton. I think we might have just heard from our defensive player of the year.
Hey, he's tracking. He is tracking, man. And we pointed it out. He's got 5 interceptions, right? Mm-hmm. The year that Charles Woodson won Defensive Player of the Year, he had 9. So I think if he gets to 10, it's going to be really, really hard to not give him Defensive Player of the Year. It really is. And obviously,
fumble recovery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it will come down to other things too, like what TJ Watt does, players like that have a huge impact on the game. Myles Garrett, obviously, Aiden Hutchinson's out of that talk now with the horrible injury he had.
We just talked about Max Crosby.
Yeah, another one. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I want to say he's missed a little time with injury, but I could be wrong. I haven't followed them too closely. I know he's pissed off at Pat McAfee. They said that they were talking about him the other day, and he basically called him a bunch of clowns or something, they said. So Pat was like, I don't know what we did, because he's been on the show before. I'd say somebody like Boston Connor shot off the mouth over there and said something they shouldn't have said, and Max just called him on it.
Max was like,
"You call me anything you want, but don't call me that."
Max come in there and smack somebody in the mouth is what he'll do. That's exactly what Max will do. All right, so since we're talking defense, let's talk a little Karl Brooks real quick. I thought this was cool. So let me pop it up here. Bang. PFF Green Bay Packers tweeted this out. The highest graded interior defender in week 6 in the entire National Football League, Karl Brooks, 93.0 PFF grade. That is crazy. Like that's you. And what's wild too is that game he didn't have any sacks, right? And it just goes to show you how assignment sound he has become in Wyatt's absence here. And that's another reason why I think they might be holding Wyatt back a little bit. It's like, hey, look, Karl's got this. Let's make sure Devontae's good. Like you said, Tim, when you don't put somebody on the IR, that would suggest they're going to be back in at least 3 weeks. But sometimes you don't advance as much as you want, and you don't want to remove that opportunity to potentially have them back for that 4th week. Yep. So I think they're looking up and going, you know what? I think Karl's got this. You know,
there could be setbacks too when you're coming off an injury too, or when you're working back. I mean, I'm not saying that, Devontae Wyatt's had a setback, but maybe you're right. Maybe they look at his timeline, and if he's not close to 80, 90, 100% yet, why rush it, right? Why make him available and take snaps away from a guy like Karl Brooks, who is, he's rising right now. We've always said he's a super high ceiling guy, and it looks like he just needs the reps, and he's getting the reps now. And 93.0 PFF grade tells you what you need to know right now at this point until we see more.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. So we got a little bit of tape for you guys. I tweeted this out earlier. I was just up here geeking out over some tape on NFL.
Tape guys. Here come the tape guys.
Tape guys are back at it again. The spreadsheet guys do not like us. So I tweeted out Packers defensive lineman Karl Brooks was the highest graded interior D lineman in the entire NFL for week 6, according to PFF. 2 weeks in a row, he has made a huge impact for the Green Bay defense. So this first play here is against the Rams. All right, we're going to roll it forward, and you see he's in a 2-eye. All right, so what we mean by 2-eye, he's on the inside shoulder of the guard. So if he was directly over this guard, that would be the 2 tech. He's playing the inside shoulder. That's called a 2-eye. If he was on the inside shoulder of the center, that would be called the 1 tech. All right, so it's 1, 2-eye, 2, 3, 4-eye, 4, 5, and on, right? So here he's in a 2-eye, and what you pick up on this is quick feet. They're going to run a TT stunt, and this is going to be basically a pressure pick. This was Xavier McKinney's interception against the Rams. And what I love about this TT, he takes it a step further, and I don't know if this was by design. What you're going to notice is he's going to really jab step out wide, engage, and then wrap back around as this tackle. I think it might be Kobe Wooden is just going to jam in and kind of clear the way for him. Kobe's really good at doing this too, but watch this. See how far out he gets? He goes to the outside shoulder, the opposite shoulder of the center, and then we're going to bust back in off the TT. That pressure led to a pick. That's what we mean by pressure pick, coverage sack, right? And again, the way he takes this corner right here, that's burst, boys. That is natural talent right there.
Yeah, he got tripped up a little bit there too. You see him, he was kind of stumbling a little, and he still had great body control. Get around and explode into the pocket like that.
Yeah. And Emilio, this is what I talk about last year when people were going crazy. Oh, where's the sacks? Where are the sacks? I want sacks, not pressures. This is what we mean by pressure in a lot of cases can be better than a sack.
Yep.
If he tucks this ball, and even if it's on a 3rd down, I don't know what down it was, but if he tucks this ball, takes a sack, then they punt and pin you deep inside the 10, which would you rather have, that, or would you rather have no sack, get the pick, and look at your starting field position as Xavier McKinney turns it upfield?
Yeah, I'm taking a pick all day, right?
Yeah,
Plus, look what it does for your morale and fires up your team and your defense. You talk about momentum swings. I'll take the pick all day.
You got the whole defense running down the field. Like you said, momentum is huge, and you'll take that field position. That's hidden yardage that you lose on the punt, that you lose on the sack. And same with Kyler. I mean, we didn't get a sack on him, but we kept him to 14 rushing yards. Would you rather have had 2 sacks and him rush for 50 yards, or lock him up and do what they did? So, like you said, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and again, the difference there, if you just sack him, they punt the ball and they pin you inside the 10. You're getting the ball at 45 right here.
Yep, kill the clock, all that.
Huge. All right, next play we're going to show you. He's in a wide 9 tech right here, and he's right here on the left side. So you got a wide 9 tech. That basically means you're way out there. You would be on the outside shoulder of a tight end if they were lined up out there, right? Way out. They just go ahead and call it wide 9 when they go at least more than one gap outside of the tackle. You hear a lot of people refer to that as a wide 9, even though it might be more of a 7 than a 9. Typically, people refer to it as a wide 9. So I put Packer, or this is the same tweet I put out. So what we got here, he's in the wide 9. He's going to use an outside in move. Watch his feet on this play. It's phenomenal. So when I mean outside in, he's going to rush outside, jab step, and then cut inside. And it's almost like he's using a little swat. He's just jabbing out. And when he comes in, it's not really an overarm swim. What you'll notice is he jabs out and then kind of pops out, jumps back out away from the lineman, slaps him on the outside shoulder, and he's got clearance on the inside. Check this move out, right? Watch how quick. Bang. And now he's and look at the tackle. The tackle's like, hey, you want to dance? Look at this.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for right there, right? So again, let's watch that move over and over and over. I'm gonna try to loop it for y'all just so you can kind of see him. Watch his feet here. This is phenomenal. Look at his footwork. That's a big old boy moving like a cat. Whoop, whoop.
It was light on your toes, man. It was like 2 little side shuffles. He went through one box of the ladder, left, right, and bam.
You can see how high he lifts his knee when he's exploding like that. You know, like you said, light on his toes and then explosive out of it.
And I honestly think he gave him a little head fake, like he was going upfield.
Yeah. Right. It was definitely
what you're saying is backup 5th string tight end potential for him as well.
Hey, I'm just saying. The other thing, too, look on the opposite side. Gary sacrifices himself here and takes on a double team running an ET stunt. So the reason that Karl gets the sack is because Matt Stafford has to step up and avoid LVN, who gets there first. Yep. LVN doesn't get there if Gary doesn't just absolutely crush that ET stunt.
Stafford was probably like, oh, my God, they both got around. You know what I mean? Like you might be expecting pressure from one of those sides, but you got to kind of freak out as a quarterback to see them both get around.
Yeah. And for those people that are all concerned about the pressures, and I don't want to hear the excuses of the chipping and this and that, and, you know, they need to have pressures. Watch Kenny on this play. Tell me if you think he's actually trying to get to the quarterback here. Watch Kenny Clark, number 97. He is not going after the quarterback, boys. You see what I'm saying? His assignment there, occupy double team, he gets it. And then you fade over and make sure you take away the rush lane.
Just like Rashawn.
And he was the first one to celebrate.
Right.
Kenny was.
Because he knows, like, that's money right there.
That's all I needed to do. Keep him in the well.
And he knows that he'll get his shot on another play, on another series. It'll be his turn, you know, and it's called playing team ball, right? These guys are happy for each other, right? They pick each other up out there, and they know what they have to do to help their teammates execute as well. You know, 11 on 11, everyone's got an assignment. We all got to do it, right?
Yeah, no doubt, man. All right, so this play here, he's in a 5 tech. Karl Brooks is, okay? So let's look it over here. We got the overload we talk about, Emilio. You got the wide 9 out here by himself, and then you got the 3 rushers on the left side from the defense's perspective. So you got the nose tackle is in a 1 tech, and then you've got this would be 2, this would be 4. He's on the outside shoulder of the tackle. That's what we refer to as a 5 tech. All right. So he's in a 5 tech. They're going to run a TT stunt. Watch his lateral quickness on this TT stunt. So basically on the TT stunt, the nose tackle is going to jab step over and take the guard and the tackle, and then Karl Brooks is going to loop around. Okay. So he's going to be the beneficiary of this TT stunt. And then just watch the lateral quickness. And also the move he puts, I think on the center it is going to be like a swat. And watch his burst coming out of the swat. This seems to be Karl Brooks' favorite move, is he'll kind of set him up with his feet, and then he smacks the shoulder of the side that he's working to throw him off. Key in, I'm pretty sure it's the center that just gets absolutely dog walked. Watch this real quick. This is awesome. Look at that poor center. You see that? I'm going to pause it just to show you the aftermath. Look at my man right here. He put him in a 3-point stance, didn't he? Put him right back in it. So again, you'll notice, watch the lateral quickness on the TT stunt. He gets vertical first and makes that guard commit, and then watch his jab. Bang. Get off me.
You can't block what you can't touch or you can't see.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. I mean, he was on the left side tackle, ended up inside shoulder of the other tackle after it was all said and done. I mean, looped all the way around, good coverage in the back end, so Stafford couldn't get rid of it right there at the top of his drop. Made him hold it, clutch it, and we were there.
We're calling that move the excuse me. That was like, excuse me, sir. I have a meeting with your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about it, too, is like this play, you can see the edges are going after the quarterback. That's what a true pass rush looks like. That's not contained. That's not worried about rush lanes. Let's go get the quarterback. And the reason they're able to do that, Kobe Wooden is pressing over in the TT, and look who's going to be waiting if Stafford steps up and scrambles, which he tried to step up. What did Karl Brooks do? Got his hands in the throwing lane. They end up getting the sack.
Can we take a look at Preston Smith on this one?
I was just going to say that, Tim.
On the left side.
Spin move. Whoop.
He's what, 31, 32 years old now?
Yeah.
He looks like a teenager still.
And the dude had to tackle him to stop him.
Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And now this is a good teaching moment too. Watch Edgerrin Cooper 56. This is the rawness that you got. He's got to get this under control. There's a big play down the field if Matt Stafford sees it here.
Oh yeah.
You see it? It's like he didn't know he didn't understand what his assignment was. You know what I mean? Like, am I pressing? What am I doing? It almost looked like he was going to rush the quarterback and he got too far in. So just wanted to point that out, that I'm not dogging on Edgerrin. Obviously he's playing some damn good football, but those are the little things that I guarantee you the coaches are seeing and going, all right, we need to clean this up.
Yep.
All right. So this final play, this is obviously this past Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. He's in a one tech here. So you've seen him all over the place. We've seen him in a 2-eye. We've seen him in a wide 9. We've seen him in a 5 tech. Here he is playing pretty much nose in a 1 tech. So in this one, he is right in between the guard and the center on the right side from the defense's perspective. All right. And he's going to be playing a 1 tech. Watch, he's going to do a punch and pull where he's going to basically punch the lineman in the chest, grab his jersey. Hopefully the officials don't see it. And he's going to pull him towards him and go right around him. Right. Now, yeah, you stay out of this, Ron Tolbert. And then watch him recognize the screen pass. His legs never stop moving. His feet never stop moving. He's going to chase the screen pass down and bust it out. This made chalk talk this week, but watch him bust out this fumble. Again, look, punch. There's the pull. See it?
Yep.
I mean, that's how you shed it. Look, punch, pull, right? And now his eyes are already reading. Oh, that's a screen. Let's get back. Bang.
Yep.
So wonderful to see this on the field, man. Yeah. I mean, one of my takeaways from watching him during camp these past couple of years is he's one of the more coachable guys on this team. You know, a lot of these guys are extremely coachable, but Karl Brooks, man, you can tell he's getting better. We're seeing it translate to real live game action here. What a great play.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And again, he seems the game definitely isn't too big for him. He is one of the guys that kind of, when you see him on the field, you don't feel like the offensive lineman he's going against is dictating the outcome. He is. He's the one with the lateral quickness. He's the one, like I said, with the punch and pull. It just seems like he's really, really stepping into a whole different level of defensive line play. I hope they keep him on the field. I want Wyatt out there too. But, man, keep playing this hot hand, and that might explain why they're kind of playing this really, really safe with Devontae Wyatt this week. So
You saw it on that last play. Campy, 316.
Yeah.
He was talking about it.
Yep.
God loves those who run to the football.
That's what you see, man.
And you see all three, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, turn and start running. Get there. First guy wrap, second guy punch. Brooks said, I got it. I'm just going to punch and wrap this time. No problem.
Yeah, I love it, man. Absolutely love it. Dennis Shook with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. He said, I was worried about a sophomore slump from Karl Brooks earlier this offseason. Me too. Guess I can put that to bed. Yeah, and what's crazy is like when they started the season, you wasn't seeing him on the field that much. And when you did, you wasn't like overly impressed. But these last couple of games, holy cow, man. Man, is that dude. He's just such an effective pass rusher. And again, the reason the numbers are down, the answer is on the tape. You see what I was talking about with the tape. Like that last play, the edges are actually pushing. Big difference between that play and the play where Gary is running an ET stunt. It's just important to look at every single play as an individual play rather than just looking at the stats and going, this guy sucks, right? Like it's important to understand. And here's the thing. I'm giving you what I think is their assignment. There may be even more emphasis on another aspect of that play that they want to play it even more conservative, right? We don't know. We're not in the meeting room. But I think it's important, though, to to hit on that stuff for sure. But, Dennis, thank you so much for the super chat, bub. AFAM says, I respect anyone named Karl. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I like Sling Blade, too. All right, let's see what else we got here real quick. We got all kinds of cool stuff that came down the pike as far as
Too old for this, says Karl Lee Ray. I love it.
All right, somebody else here. This is pretty cool. Tom Silverstein tweeted out, Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley said the more linebacker Edgerrin Cooper plays and the better he practices and healthier he remains, the more he's going to play. Cooper has gradually seen his snaps increase and his role will change based on what the coaches learn about him over time, Hafley said. We kind of talked about this earlier in the week, guys. I think he's quickly becoming our linebacker one. I don't know, man. I'm excited to see how he finishes the year because, again, there's going to be ups and downs, and what makes a great NFL player, in my opinion, no matter what position you're playing, is how you handle those ups and downs. But obviously, we talked about earlier this week, he's grading out currently as the 12th highest graded stack backer in the NFL right now with 125 snaps. His PFF grade is a 78.2, and what's wild is the added value you have of that pass rush being at a 90.3. So effective at rushing the quarterback. Coverage grade 72.6. Run defense grade 69.6. Tackle grade 69.1. You look up now here in week 6 and you go, man, there are no holes in his game all of a sudden. And we heard that he's got an extremely high football IQ. We talked about that over and over. But he was having a hard time kind of getting a grasp of where you needed to line up this and that. You can have high football IQ and not necessarily grab a hold of the playbook quick. Football IQ is really simple. FBI or football intelligence is how quickly you can dissect the play when the ball's snapped. How Karl Brooks, extremely high FBI in my opinion. The way he read that screen pass out, right? And knowing I got to get my hands up in this throwing lane. All those little things that truly matter. But Edgerrin Cooper, man, I'm fired up about. Anything you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's nice that we still have Quay, though. I know we want Edge to be the number one guy, but I think for the next year, this year, and honestly probably next year, Quay would still be that dot, Mike sort of guy, and I think that allows Coop to play free. But we'll see how if he improves and he's elite, then if he's ready for it, give him the dot. But I think it really is helpful that we have Quay there, who's been a veteran at this point in the linebacker room.
Great point, Emilio.
Carrying it.
Great point, because that's what they did to Quay his rookie year, right? They threw him into the fire, slapped a green dot on his head. Here you go. And they gave him Joe Barry's defense to do it in. So now we're year 3 for Quay Walker. I agree. I think we have that luxury now. Now we've got a guy that's established. He had to, learn the hard way a lot of times, trial by fire. We saw that rookie season. He had a lot of ups and downs.
Yep.
I think he responded well, had a not the greatest year in the world last year, but certainly, contributing and taking on more responsibility in this defense. And now we get Goody smacking this draft out of the park, grabbing us Edgerrin Cooper and Tyron Hopper. So having Quay in there, I agree. You don't want to take snaps away from the young players, but you also, if we don't have to throw them out there for 50, 60 snaps a game right away, let's not do that. We've got the luxury of having, like you said, Emilio, an established veteran there in the middle. I like it.
Yep.
That's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate y'all.